not going to change my Facebook to a joint profile, okay? I'm not going to do it. Hello, one and all. We would like to thank you all, first of all, for coming to our wedding, for enjoying our day with us. And if you're in the room, it's because we love you, okay? Aww. Every single one of you. Before I go into my speech, what I'd like to do first of all is to recognise 4 empty small chairs on the table to my right. The 4 chairs represent 4 people that aren't with us anymore, but they are in our hearts. First of all, we've got Pete, which is Claire's dad. Sadly, Pete passed away when Claire was only 14 years old. I don't know much about him. I know that he was hard working. I know that he loved his family, his household, his clutch. And I know that he loved music. He was a keen lover of music. And for me, I can relate a lot to that. I'm hard working. Scott might disagree, but I am. I love my family. I love Claire. I love all 3 of my children. Daisy, Della and Dixie, the dogs. I love music. At home, I sing a lot.
No.
They're not always the right lyrics. It's not always the right tune or tone.
No.
But I do sing. Secondly, we've got Claire's nan. I had the pleasure of meeting her, knowing her. She was a lovely, loving, caring, stoic woman. In fact, the first time I met her, I was at her house and Claire had just gone to get a cup of tea. Grandad was in the corner. Now, Grandad isn't with us anymore, but he hasn't got a place at the table. All right. If you want to know more about it, then speak to the family. So anyway, so he was in the corner, rabbiting away, and going on about something or other. And Nan looked up at me and said, "I fucking hope he dies soon. I hate him." And I was like. And then later on, I found out a little bit more about the story, and I kind of understood what was happening.
And agreed.
Yeah, that was Nan. Next up is Auntie Adele, or Auntie Adele. I'm not sure how she's saying. And she was Claire's great aunt and was Nan's sister. Is that right? Yeah. Now I know nothing. I know nothing about Aunt Adele really, apart from the fact that she loved waifs and strays. Took him in all the time, so she would absolutely love me. Cats. She took in cats. Lastly is the G-man, my granddad. Granddad was my constant. He was my hero. He was my father figure. And got many fond memories of Grandad. Probably the best one is he taught me to play golf. And if I hit it a bit wrong, which I did often because I was just learning, he'd go, "Oh no, wanker." What can I do? That was Grandad. So please, my first toast is to those in our hearts. Those in our hearts. Right, the speech. Unfortunately, I've got Lenny here today, who is he's gonna take care of the thank yous and the special thank yous, the stuff that I don't want to do. That's what he's here for, right? The special thank yous have got gifts, but you won't be receiving the gifts within this speech because it's not a fucking award show. My thanks, my special thanks, has to go to my new wife. She has done everything for this wedding. I mean, she's had support, but she's literally done everything. Last night I was thinking to myself, what can I say that she has done? And the truth is, I haven't got a clue. I've done nothing. I've got Lenny and I dressed. My job's to dress me and Lenny and to deliver a good speech. So at least we're dressed. So Claire is my special thanks. 6 years ago today, we met. 5 years ago today, I gave her a ring. Now, I gave her this ring, and it wasn't an engagement ring, and I didn't want her to think it was an engagement ring because we'd only been together for a year. So we were sat on her bed, and I gave her the ring, and I said, "This isn't an engagement ring." You've got to be clear, right? I said, "But what it is a promise." I said, "It's a promise that one day, I'm going to marry the shit out of you." And I've done it. Yeah. 3 years ago, almost to the day, we bought a house and we moved in together. We bought the G-Man's house, which just made everything perfect. It's amazing. We moved in, and immediately we started to find our routine, our way of living. Liam and Chloe were coming over regular, and things were absolutely beautiful. I have never been as happy as when we first moved in together. And then COVID came. COVID meant that we didn't see Liam and Chloe as much, and it destroyed me. It absolutely, it done me. I've never been so sad. So that's some real hard times. As well as COVID, I went through a brain tumour scare in the first year. In the second year, I went through a stomach cancer scare. And now I'm suffering with depression, and it's horrible. It's absolutely disgusting. But she's there by my side all the time, and I cannot thank her enough for being the person that she is. Love you. So 1 year ago today, I took her to London to watch a Jersey Boys, which, by the way, is a fantastic show. And at the same time, I proposed. Yeah. And she said yes. Yeah. Since then, we've now got 3 dogs, Daisy, Dixie and Della, and we're in love. We're doing this. It's amazing. But we almost didn't make it, okay? Let me take you back 6 years and 1 week, okay? Now, Claire and I were sat on our sofas in our separate houses, and I was scrolling through Plenty of Fish, and I'm scrolling through, flicking through, and I see a picture of the profile of Claire, and she had these big, fun sunglasses on, big, silly glasses. And I thought, she looks fun. Right, and so I sent her a message, and she replied, and we got chatting. It was absolutely fantastic. But Claire had never messaged me first. And Claire had never messaged me first because she had never seen my profile. And Claire had never seen my profile because her minimum height requirement started at average man. And I don't do average. Anyway, so we got chatting and we got on really well, and we decided that we would meet up in Port Solent. At the time I was only riding a bike, so I thought to myself, I better get there early, just in case I'm a bit sweaty, I can sort myself out. So I turned up a little bit early, and what I didn't know at this time is that Claire runs on Claire time, which is a completely different time zone to anybody else. So I was waiting at the cinema for quite some time, and she turned up, and we got chatting. I can't even remember what we were chatting about at this point. But I remember looking at her thinking, she looks old. She looks, right? No. Because then, 2 minutes later, Claire turns up. I was talking to the wrong person. Right? So we nearly didn't make it. She turned up, and we went over into Port Solent, and the plan was just to have a couple of drinks because I was riding, and we had a couple of drinks, and we got on really well. Things were going fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And then we went to the next place, and we were having a couple of drinks, and I thought to myself, I've got to ride home in a minute, you know, I'm going to have to cut this short. So we both decided that we were going to be, that this was going to be the last drink. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I've absolutely nailed this one, I've smashed it, she's she's the one, our conversation was flowing, things were really good. And then Claire looked up at me and she said, I can't believe you dropped an F-bomb in our first date. And I'm thinking, oh no, she doesn't like swearing. If she doesn't like swearing, I can't be me. I can't be Andy. So I'm sat down and I stood up and I went, fuck you, Claire! And I sat down. Right? Now, this was silence across the room. And it was probably literally a second, 2 seconds, that was all. But in my head it's like, tick, follow, tock, follow, tick, follow, tock. And I was like, I'm looking around the room and everyone's silent and there's no music. And I look above Claire on this balcony and there's this kid, about 8 years old, like... And then she laughed. She laughed and she laughed and she laughed. And in that moment, I'm looking at her and I'm enjoying watching her laugh and I'm enjoying watching her look happy. And I'm ecstatic and I'm thinking to myself, yes, this hasn't gone as well as I wanted it to go. And you know, the joke, she liked the joke, or she's nervous, or she's worried, or she's laughing at me or laughing with me. I didn't care because in that moment, she was happy, and that's what I loved, and that's what I loved. And it was in that moment, looking in her eyes, that I knew that there was going to be a second date. Please, raise your glasses to the second date.
Hooray!
Thank you.
That's her husband.
Oh.
No,
Are you on your own?
We're not going to let John
You're on your own?
Yeah, okay. So the next speech
Don't
will be
answer,
my best
don't
man,
answer.
Lenny. I've known Lenny for 10 years, and he is the second love of my life.